Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnson. The college football playoff semifinals kicked off last night with Miami beating Ole Miss 31-27 as they will head to the championship game, which will be played in Miami. Oregon and Indiana face off tonight in the Peach Bowl for the second spot in the championship, with kickoff set for 6:30 p.m. In Titans news, the team submitted 2 more requests for head coach interviews today. Rams defensive coordinator Chris Shula and Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter. In NBA news, Shams Charania reports that for the first time, the Memphis Grizzlies are entertaining offers to potentially move Ja Morant ahead of the February 5th NBA trade deadline. And in NFL news, the Miami Dolphins have hired John Eric Sullivan from the Packers to be their new GM, which leaves the Falcons as the only team currently without a GM. Sullivan has been in Green Bay since 2003 and has served as the vice president of player personnel since 2022. Lastly, Tennessee and Vanderbilt both take to the hardwood tomorrow as Tennessee travels to Gainesville to take on the defending champions, with tip-off scheduled for 11 a.m. And Vanderbilt hosts the 12-3 LSU Tigers with tips scheduled for noon Central at Memorial Gym. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Stores, 615-737-1045. Carson Beck, the White Vic, gets the last-minute touchdown on the ground, rushes for 3 yards. Yep, rushes for 3 yards for the touchdown. Miami goes up 31-27. Now, I know that I am asking a former defensive back, but Blaine, that last play of the game really feels like it was pretty obvious defensive pass interference. What were your thoughts on the last play of the game?
Well, obviously I was a defensive back, but, I'm very unbiased and want to give an honest opinion. And actually, I thought both guys were pushing each other. I think all that was all good and dandy until the DB grabbed that guy's left shoulder and kind of pulled and gave him an advantage right when the ball was getting there, even though that's when he kind of peaked. I would have called pass interference. Only for sure what I would have felt good about it if I'm a referee, I'm putting myself in their shoes, is it's only a 15-yard penalty. You just get another play. Now they had to go for it. They still had to throw on the ball. So I would have called PI. Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, typically they just get, fixated on, hey, if they're pushing and shoving, I'm not going to call anything on a game, throwing play.
Right.
Referees are kind of trained that way. But in this case, I probably would have called pass interference. I think I would have.
Yeah,
because I would have been entitled to pick my flag up too at the same time.
Yeah.
And no penalty. So at least you cover yourself if it's a referee. I think I'm gonna take up refereeing in my
there you go. I like
older
it.
ages, man.
They need you. The NFL definitely needs you.
I don't know. The job is really hard.
I'm sure it is.
Especially since they gotten the instant replay.
Yeah.
I think every referee is like an athlete. I think they start second guessing themselves on big calls and then try not to be, the butt of all the jokes of what happened in the game, that it was all about the refereeing.
Yeah.
Because that's happened a lot. Man, I think the guys get a little nervous, and I'd call a flag every time. And then if instant replay was available for that kind of call, I would let it play out. Yeah, I really would.
What'd you think of the overall? The game was super exciting. It was a great game.
Man, it was a great game. I hope tonight's is just as good, with IU and Oregon. But this game here, I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday. Got filled the calls yesterday, but I thought the U. I was going to pick the U, but I was very uncomfortable with picking them. And when I say that, it's because I thought Ole Miss had a great shot of beating them, because I went back and watched what team did they play, the U, that runs somewhat up-tempo offense. Yeah. By the way, that team beat them. SMU, and I remember watching that game. So I went back and watched that game. They did a lot of lateral passing, so I thought it would, neutralize the pass rushers, because they start getting tired. So they can't rush. See that? Okay, so now you're neutralizing their pass rushers. Now we're on an even playing field. I mean, you can't stop the run and everything else. So I thought Chambliss would have a chance to Trinidad, would have a great shot of still throwing, running around, but also he's an on-time, on-rhythm thrower. I really like him as a quarterback. So I thought he would be capable.
Yeah.
So there were times each team you thought one was going to take control of it. It was like 20, maybe in the second quarter, and then maybe in the third quarter, I was like, they're going to take over today. They're going to. So they kept going back and forth. So it was a really, really exciting game. Tip the cap to Ole Miss. They just didn't have quite enough. But, and Carson Beck, who a lot of people criticize and just don't like him just because he's Carson Beck, I guess. He's, I think he's third all time with wins as a quarterback in college, and he finally put it together. Early on, though, he reminded me somewhat of Cam Ward, different style of player, but missing open guys. He missed Tony down the seam on the hash early in the game. I was like, oh, man. Then he recovered. So, see, he's dealt with some of these failures or, not having success in a game early on, and then he came back and he responded. Let alone the team does. I think they just have an edge, I think their players play with an edge. That's one thing I kept coming up, like, dang, these guys, but they're mentally as well as physically tough. They built the right way. When I watched them play, Christopher, I feel like I'm watching like a Nick Saban type team. That's what I feel like. Physicality.
He comes from the Nick Saban tree.
We can throw the football. We can beat you any way you want to go. But we're going to get after it.
Yeah.
And so, man, it was really good, man. That last call was pass interference.
Well, I want to continue talking about this game because there's a lot to dissect from this game, but we got a little bit of breaking news.
What?
You're not going to put it the music? That's your cue.
On, you think this deserves it?
You got it. You got in my ear. Told me it was breaking news.
So you think it doesn't deserve it?
He told me it was breaking news.
He
told me
breaking news.
No.
Yes, you did. You said we got a little bit of breaking news.
I said we got a little bit of Callahan news.
Which, by the way, that news is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
Which Callahan?
have completed a virtual interview with former Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan for their offensive coordinator position. So the Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers, and I think that deserves a little bit of breaking news, and here's why. Because if he gets hired, that's a little bit of money off the books for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, well, yeah. But, I don't wonder who needed a favor done there.
Maybe his agent.
Yeah.
Maybe Brian Callahan needs it. Like, hey, I'm still here. Don't forget about me.
So do you think he is worthy of being an offensive play caller?
I think
in the National League. Still based off of really a year of a season of calling plays in what was it, 6 games or so?
I think
basically like how many games total would that be? Like 20. He played like 20-ish games,
24
games,
something
plays.
like that. So he called, 23 games. 23
well,
no, it would have been 20 because he didn't call the last 3 games allegedly.
So 20 games of play calling.
Yeah, remember he gave up play calling.
They pulled his card.
Yeah.
Which he had no problems with his play calling, if we remember that.
Man, he did not.
So that's where I go back to 2024. And I'm like, okay, there is a guy there that can call plays. And then, now we didn't really see that guy in 2025. So I do.
You talking about in Tampa Bay?
No, here in Tennessee. I thought he could call some plays. Now, I don't know. Now, there's a difference between calling plays and what I thought in 2024 and making sure your scheme fits the pieces. So I think there's 2 different arguments there for me.
Absolutely.
So I do think, though, the logical next step is not to go somewhere and be an non-play calling offensive coordinator. If he's wanting to get back into the head coaching game, which I would assume most coaches do, he's going to have to prove away from Joe Burrow and away from Cincinnati, because some people go back home.
Yeah.
And prove that he could be a play caller, and then maybe do that for a couple of years, and then maybe get another shot at head coaching. Is he going to be good at it? I don't know. But I do think that would be the logical step if I was Brian Callahan. Yeah. Now, whether he gets that chance or not, it's a totally different story.
You got to get hired, right? Here's what I would think and propose, that even if I'm in his shoes, I would, at worst case scenario, I'll take a quarterback's job.
Yeah.
By the way. But if I got an opportunity to be an OC, I think with the right players and Tampa Bay, if they keep like some of their veteran receivers, Evans and everybody else, and Baker Mayfield, I think potentially his offense could work with them.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It can't just be any offensive coordinator position.
Yeah. So I think potentially that one could work out for him in his favor based off what they have on their team already. So I think he needs to be with more of a veteran team, or, guys who've played in this league a little bit. And that way he could have, not so much on his plate, just being not a head coach.
Yeah.
Too. So I want to see him have some success. A really good guy. I think he runs systems no different than any other coaches that live by their systems.
Yep.
And I think that system I actually like. I just don't think Cam Moore was the guy for his system, to be honest. He may have thought it was, but not as a young player, not as a rookie.
I mean, and you see, like I said, there's not just
come 4 years from now and go Cam Ward, put him in. I think yes,
right. And that's the thing is, like, not every offensive coach is going to say, head coach or anything, is going to say that their system won't work for X quarterback.
Right, they never go say that.
Because, I mean, we even saw it with, and I go back to Shanahan because I think Shanahan's a great example of, I thought I could make it work with Trey Lance, and it turns out I really couldn't make it work with Trey Lance for whatever reason. But, and so whether that's the fit, the styles clash or whatever, or it's just that, Trey Lance only had a limited amount of starts, right? It could be a multitude of different things, but not every quarterback can work in every system just because the offensive coach thinks that it can. Like, there has to be buy-in from the player, and there has to be some tweaking for almost every quarterback that you got. Even Matt LaFleur is a good example of, yes, it's the same system, but I'm able to tweak it for whichever quarterback I got and just tweak it. And
I think that's where Callahan failed. I think he didn't understand how to just look at even the receivers.
Yep.
Now, the quarterback's the guy throwing the ball, but we could never get two really good receivers going on the same game, even with the young players. Either DK had a big day or Ellick had a big day. When we had, Hopkins, or who was the other receiver we had opposite him? When we had two really good, Ridley. We couldn't get both of them on the same page. So it's almost like he didn't understand how to, weave and dodge and cater your system to both kind of styles of players. And that's when you're a really good coach. Instead, he had to just run his system. Well, every system can be tweaked, as you're mentioning, to the player's strengths. So you
not just the quarterback.
Not just the quarterback. That's why I went to the receivers, because it's more than just that. And so that's where I think he missed the boat. I have no problem with his system.
Yeah.
Every coach has a system, but most coaches, especially on the offense, they know how to cater it to the players they have, whether the quarterback, tight end, wide receivers, and running game. I mean, it's just, and I just think he just ran it like they were all the same.
And he loves 11 personnel. And think about all the receivers. I know you just mentioned the receivers at Tampa Bay, but think of all the receivers they got there. They got a ton of them.
Right.
Not just Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They got Amika Ibuka,
get everybody
Millen,
involved.
Get everybody involved, right? Then he's also got a talented young running back, got a pretty good offensive line. Most of that stuff that's already there, that's built in. Yeah, and Baker Mayfield is kind of Cam Ward of the future, sort of, like similar play styles, but Baker Mayfield has been in a ton of different systems. So he will be able to easily adapt and understand and buy into why play action this or being in shotgun there and being under center here is all possible. Because sometimes it just takes a little bit to learn the why behind everything, and Baker Mayfield's kind of already gone through that.
That's why I just said, I just think he needed to be with a veteran team.
And this would be a good team for him to go to. I mean, also Todd Bowles. I mean, a former failed head coach. Who better to get tips than a guy who also failed at his first stop?
And who would give him an opportunity?
Right. I know I have not checked the replies to that tweet, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people making fun of it. But I understand it. Like,
no, I do too. It was no different than Jason Garrett yesterday. I mean, I understand bringing him in as a CEO and running the team. Like, I'd have no problem with that. So, no, I mean... Yeah, every coach is going to have some good and bad to their systems or what they've, overcome as coaches. And as long as they're aware of them and try to adjust along the way, there's no problem. I mean, so I just think he wasn't built for a young team. Not a young team with a young quarterback with all the issues the Titans had. I just think it was a mix of a lot of different things for him at the time that he wasn't really ready for, let alone play calling and being a head coach. Yeah.
I mean, and then you also, hired a first-time special teams coordinator, a first-time defensive coordinator. Like, just not only was the roster new, you were new, your staff was pretty much new. It was just new on new on new, and it just never seemed to gain any kind of traction. But I do, to your point, like, I'm trying to think of another offensive coordinator job. I don't know. I wouldn't really say Commanders. I wouldn't really put them up there with that. But I do think Tampa Bay, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's hired on someone's staff, that maybe gets hired.
That's what I said. I believe it opened the door to the quarterback coach. I mean, and that's how you kind of get back into the favor and the roles of being a coordinator and then maybe even a head coach down the road. Just because you failed this first time doesn't mean you're going to get your second opportunity. It may take time, may take some years and seasons, but he's still young. He's still learning a lot as a coach. So this first go round was just like, you know what? I learned a lot. I'll be much more prepared the next time.
Well, you can look at, Cliff Kingsbury, right? He got fired from Arizona, becomes a senior offensive analyst on his buddy's team in USC, then gets the offensive coordinator job at the Commanders and is now being interviewed for head coaching jobs again. So, there is that possibility to kind of bounce around and find a landing spot for a year. Even Robert Saleh had a landing spot once he got fired from the Jets up in Green Bay. And then he becomes defensive coordinator, and now he's back in the head coaching cycle. Like, that's just the nature of the NFL. So Brian Callahan will eventually get head coaching interviews. And probably kind of like people talking about Stefanski's situation and talking about Saleh's situation, people in the NFL will point to Brian Callahan's situation here at Tennessee and say this was less than ideal here at Tennessee.
Yeah, I was laughing. One of the guys on the chat there, I want to give him his props there, Bustin' Diamond. Callahan was tweaking, all right. When you said tweaking.
And to be honest, I think T-Man 616 in the chat says Burt wants Callahan at the Ravens. So I don't know if that's true or not.
No,
probably not. I would say that's not.
No.
Can't be.
Well, I got my GM wrong with the Dolphins, so my hardball to the Dolphins probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out just quite yet, but
dang it,
I am a little more nervous about Jeff Hafley being able to come to the Tennessee Titans because they may end up going to Green Bay. What if Matt LaFleur gets fired at Green Bay? Then maybe he's down at Miami. I don't know. There's a lot going on right now.
Quick, we're going to think about this during the break. I'm sure it has been, but I can't recall. Help me recall. Have coaches got fired in the NFL after being in the first round of the playoffs? Head coaches. I know some assistants have got fired.
Yeah, Mike Mularkey.
Okay, well, I'm talking about outside of that. I'm talking about other places.
I'll have to check.
And just think that was, 18?
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. Do we think there's anybody with a legit shot to get fired?
Because when I hear
I think there could be Sean McDermott or Matt LaFleur.
Right, and we're talking about quality coaches. So is the NFL, here's what I'm getting to, starting to have the same vibe as college football.
You know who would be great to ask this question to?
Like
You know who'd be great to ask this question to? Jordan DeJaney coming up next. We'll go around the NFL with him. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. And we're broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. And it's been a long time since we've talked to Jordan DeJaney because we've had a couple of holidays that fell on a Friday. So, Jordan, lot to catch up on. And I guess I'm going to start with a little bit of playoff talk because we were just talking about the idea of teams firing Matt LaFleur or Sean McDermott if those teams were to lose. Who's under the most pressure in your mind?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, it's been a long time. It's good to be sharing the airways with you once again. And yeah, you bring up an interesting discussion. I mean, this coaching carousel has barely started spinning, and it has become one of the more intriguing coaching carousels we've seen in quite some time. It's not exactly loaded up with young talent per se like last year, but all of a sudden John Harbaugh enters the mix, and you have to wonder if other teams are going to fire their lead men and enter the mix as well. So yeah, you look at the Green Bay Packers, it's pretty wild what's going on up there. It seems like there's a lot of smoke, a lot of noise about the job security of Matt LaFleur. Of course, you know, the playoffs haven't gone so well in recent years. Jordan Love is going to be rusty, likely coming off a concussion. You have the drama with Malik Willis. Is Matt LaFleur a coach who could be on the hot seat? And depending on what happens this weekend, I don't think you can necessarily rule it out. But then you look at the Buffalo Bills with Sean McDermott. You know, what if I told you a few months ago that Josh Allen would be in the playoffs and there would be no Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow, no Lamar Jackson standing in his way? You would imagine that Buffalo would be the Super Bowl favorites entering this year, but that's just not the case. So if Buffalo's an early out against the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road, and even though Buffalo's favored in this matchup, you have to wonder if Sean McDermott is on the hot seat as well.
What are you hearing about what all went down with John Harbaugh? Because it seems like there's a different story every time you look with him and the Ravens. It was John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson didn't get along. Then Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson didn't get along. Then John Harbaugh didn't want to fire anybody on his staff and all this kind of stuff. What ultimately led to John Harbaugh being let go from the Baltimore Ravens?
Yeah, there are a couple theories being thrown around, and I think that both of them might ring true. One is that John Harbaugh is regarded as one of the best head coaches in the NFL right now, but he's won just 4 playoff games over the last 12 seasons after winning an NFL record 9 in his first 5 seasons as head coach. So the postseason success has not been there for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and you have to wonder if the franchise at large wanted somewhat of a reset, wanted someone else to come in and see if they could invigorate Lamar Jackson and get that franchise back on track. John Harbaugh, certainly a Baltimore legend, but I wonder if there was some of that thought process when it came to the decision to part ways with Harbaugh. Now for the really juicy stuff. NFL media was reporting that Lamar Jackson was just somewhat off this year. They didn't know if it was a mental thing. They thought maybe some of it had to do with injury, but there were people in the Ravens building just wondering what's off with Lamar Jackson. And, you know, there's been a lot of reporting and a lot of people wondering if there was a disconnect with Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh, if there was a disconnect with Lamar Jackson and offensive coordinator Todd Monken, or if there was just a disconnect with Lamar Jackson and the organization at large. But either way, they made the decision and they had enough evidence to part ways with their head coach, who all of a sudden becomes the most attractive coaching candidate on the coaching carousel.
And I would assume you would rank Baltimore as the number 1 job, but what is the number 2 job in the NFL?
I would probably lean towards the New York Giants. And listen, there are pros and cons for all of these NFL jobs, right? Like when it comes to the Giants, I'm a big brand guy. Like if I'm this up-and-coming offensive coordinator that can bring the Giants back from the grave and turn them into, again, one of the more successful NFL franchises, that's extremely attractive to me, similar to the Las Vegas Raiders as well. But you look at the Giants, and they have a prospective franchise quarterback. They have a really fun running back. They have a wide receiver one who has an incredibly high ceiling. They've got plenty of pieces on the defensive line as well. So that's a big reason why I would look at the Giants, who also reside in the biggest sports market in the United States, as probably my top job behind the Ravens. Now, the obvious con for that job is that they decided to retain Joe Schoen. But if you're someone like John Harbaugh, you have enough power where you can probably walk him out of the building and bring in your own general manager. We saw this just last year with Liam Cohen in the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I wonder if Joe Schoen is feeling a little bit nervous right now, because I would imagine that the Giants really do want to go after John Harbaugh. And you also have to imagine that he wants roster control and he wants his own general manager in place as well.
We're going around the NFL with Jordan DeGenie of CBS Sports.
Hey, JD, since we're on the Harbaugh, give us your prediction on where you think he'll end up. I know I made my prediction, the Dolphins, and actually they hired the GM he's connected to, so that may not be where he end up. Give us your insight on where you think he'll end up. Is it just New York, or is it some... I hear that he has some qualifications of what he's looking for here as well, like pay and the GM, as you're mentioning, and having a whole lot of moolah for his staff. So kind of take us through. Have you heard all of these things as well, and where would that be a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard those same things, and I'm sure they absolutely ring true when it comes to salary, the ability to have control over the roster, and also a salary dump for your coaching staff as well. But I don't think you're necessarily wrong about the Miami Dolphins. I'm not ruling them out just yet. They didn't hire, what was his name, Chad Alexander, I think, was the general manager that a lot of people were kind of putting in that spot so they could bring in Harbaugh. They ended up going with John Eric Sullivan, the director of college scouting, working in the player personnel side with Green Bay back in the day. But I don't know if that necessarily rules out the Dolphins. And I say that just because they didn't fire Mike McDaniel on Black Monday, right? Like they were going to roll forward with him, and then something happened. And I think that something was John Harbaugh being fired. When you hear reports from guys like Jeremy Fowler, they say Stephen Ross had this meeting with Mike McDaniel and something went awry, and all of a sudden he changed his mind. I don't know how much of that is true. I think what changed with Miami's thought process was John Harbaugh becoming available. So I'm not necessarily ready to take them off the carousel for John Harbaugh, but I would point to probably the New York Giants as my number one landing spot for Harbaugh. But I will say this, we are very early in the process. This week for John Harbaugh is about him collecting information and data and seeing what potentially could be the best fit for him. So maybe we haven't discussed the best fit for him just yet. Maybe there's another job, as we already talked about, that could become open after this first weekend of the playoffs. So that all remains to be seen. But if I had to pick one right now, I'm probably leaning towards the New York Giants.
All righty. Now, this year to me in the playoffs for the NFL is widespread. I don't know who's going to win it. A lot of teams kind of parity is kind of taking over here. My preseason prediction was Josh Allen and crew there with the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to stick with it just because they're at least in it. Don't know how much they're going to win. But I guess who do you think is going to end up being in the Super Bowl, and who wins it before this playoff year starts?
Well, I will say this. This has been my favorite NFL season in quite some time. I mean, we have the most playoff teams coming off of 11 lost seasons all time. The most worst to first division winners all time as well. So it seems completely open. Who would have guessed that all those good quarterbacks like Mahomes would be out of the playoffs? And who would have guessed that the Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks would be the number one seeds? You have to wonder how valuable those first-round buys are going to be in this current landscape. But I will tell you this. My preseason Super Bowl pick was the Baltimore Ravens against the Los Angeles Rams. Naturally, we missed on Baltimore, but I'm going to stick with the Rams despite them having to go on the road and win all of these games. I think they're capable of beating the Panthers, of course, and then maybe upsetting the Seahawks. They'll take on a team like the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship and make it to the Super Bowl. I'm leaning towards Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams in what may be the final season of Matthew Stafford's Hall of Fame career. As for the AFC, this is where things get really interesting. People are looking at Buffalo as the sleeper. No, in fact, I think it's the team that Buffalo's playing first round that could be the sleeper. How about Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars potentially making a run? I have them going to the AFC Championship versus Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos where their magical run ends. So I'll take the number one seed Broncos to go to the Super Bowl.
So upset alert? Anything making you feel based against the odds of Vegas?
Yeah. I think I released my picks this morning, I believe, and I'm leaning towards underdogs, at least to cover the spread in the majority of these matchups. I mean, the Chicago Bears, that line's kind of been flipping back and forth. The last time I looked, Chicago was actually underdogs to the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to win that game. The Eagles versus 49ers, I mean, we could run through all these games. I'm sure I won't, but San Francisco, they're 4.5-point dogs. That's a lot of points, in my opinion, to go up against a team. They may be the reigning Super Bowl champions, but they're the most Jekyll and Hyde team in the NFL with Philadelphia. Taking 4.5 with San Francisco doesn't seem like a bad bet. The Jaguars, as I mentioned, are underdogs. I'm going to take them. I have really no good feel when it comes to the Houston Texans and Pittsburgh Steelers, so I'm kind of staying away from that one. Actually, I do have a best bet. It's the under. Take the under in that game. That's going to be low scoring. And then the other tough one for me to figure out is the Los Angeles Chargers at New England Patriots, because the Patriots have had the easiest strength of schedule played in the NFL since the 1999 Rams. And yes, that 1999 Rams did go on to win the Super Bowl. I understand that. But this Jesse Minter defense they're playing this week is objectively the toughest defense they have faced all season. So maybe this is a game that is closer than anticipated. I'm not bold enough to take the Chargers in a first-round upset. Give me the Patriots to win, but it may be by a field goal.
Last question for you, and I'm going to ask you this every week now that the playoffs have happened until this happens. The Titans hire a head coach. So as of today, who does Jordan Jajani think the Tennessee Titans will hire as a coach, head coach?
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun predictions for you guys. I've gone through Matt Nagy, Marcus Freeman, Mike McCarthy. But if you're asking me my honest
opinion, say Kurt Cincinnati or something like that.
I'm
no, you ruined
it.
Way.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, if you're asking for my honest best bet, if I had to pick what was going to happen, I'm leaning towards Matt Nagy. I'm leaning towards Matt Nagy being the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
There you have it.
All right, so Mike McDaniel gets fired down in Miami. Is this an instance where he's going to be an in-demand head coach candidate, or maybe he's going to be an offensive coordinator somewhere?
Yeah, without having any inside information on the subject, I don't know if Mike McDaniel is going to be a big-time head coaching candidate for a lot of these teams. I'm sure he'll get several interviews, definitely with the Cleveland Browns, who really holds him in high regard. But I don't know if he's going to immediately land another head coaching job. What I will tell you is I think he's going to be a very in-demand offensive coordinator position. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should hit him up. The Detroit Lions have already reportedly hit him up. Keep an eye on the Washington Commanders as well. I would even love Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. That would make me thrilled. So I do anticipate him taking a lot of interviews when it comes to OC landing spots, and I'm sure that he's going to be able to basically revolutionize the offense of whatever franchise he signs with.
You know, I know that we'll talk about Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here in just a second, but has any team gone from the highest of highs and the lowest of lows like the Washington Commanders just did in a span of a year? I mean, last year they're in the NFC Championship game. This year they fired everyone but Dan Quinn. Their quarterback of the future had injury issues, and they drop almost. I think they just dropped 4 wins of this season. I can't remember which one it was, but what a wild turnaround in the span of a year for one team. What went wrong up in Washington?
Well, the biggest thing, I think, was Jaden Daniels' health. I think that Jaden Daniels not being on the field all of a sudden spells a losing season. But I will say this, even when Jaden Daniels was starting, that Washington Commanders team did not look good. I think that they suffered a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball with a unit that was already aging, if I had to put it nicely. They suffered a lot of injuries when it came to the secondary as well, which I think kind of put Washington behind the 8 ball, put Joe Witt behind the 8 ball, where Dan Quinn had to step in and take over play calling on that side of the ball. And then here's the other thing. You know, people talk about Cliff Kingsbury parting ways with Washington. I think with what happened in 2025, it should give some people pause when it comes to Cliff Kingsbury as a head coaching candidate, but also as an offensive coordinator. We knew we knew that he was someone that could flame out quickly, right? We saw that with the Arizona Cardinals. Was he going to be able to be someone who could implement his offense, but then adapt and change things and not get figured out? He was unable to do do it in Arizona, and I would make the argument that he was unable to do it with Washington as well. So people want to say he mutually parted ways with the Commanders. I think it was just as much of a firing as well. Dan Quinn is starting over there. So that maybe should give you pause with Cliff Kingsbury. He's clearly an experienced play caller. He knows what he wants from his offensive system, and he knows how to develop quarterbacks as well. But, man, you have to wonder what the ceiling is with Cliff Kingsbury and how long he can maintain success.
Well, talking about not being able to maintain success, Kevin Stefanski over at Cleveland, I mean, that I am kind of surprised they didn't do a full cleaning of the and purging of that, front office and the coaching staff. They fired just Cliff Kingsbury. They're trying to keep Jim Schwartz from everything that we've heard as well. What do you think about Kevin Stefanski's time at Cleveland and how that kind of reflects on him being a potential head coach in the NFL?
Yeah, I'm surprised you brought him up because I was really shocked to learn that he was public enemy number one for every show on 104.5 The Zone, that everyone does not want this guy. It sounds like you guys would rather have a coaching staff that includes Nathaniel Hackett, Jeremy Pruitt, and Bobby Petrino than some guy like Kevin Stefanski. No, but I clearly hold Kevin Stefanski in higher regard than you guys do. I mean, I guess I can recycle all of the facts right? Like, he's the best Browns head coach since the franchise return to the NFL in 1999. He has 2 11-win seasons, one that came with Joe Flacco making the playoffs, coach of the year twice. But when it comes to Kevin Stefanski, I always viewed him as being in this really bad situation in an arranged marriage with a quarterback that he didn't want. And, I even went back and read those press releases from Cleveland when he won Coach of the Year both times. And it was the GM and the owner came out and said, everything went wrong for us and we stink as a football team. But thank God we had a stabilizing force like Kevin Stefanski who was able to get the most out of our players. The Browns are not a good NFL franchise. Things do not go well there. And the last person I want to blame, to be honest, is Kevin Stefanski. And in fact, I saw Dan Patrick say this, I believe. He said that the Browns are doing Kevin Stefanski a favor by firing him and giving him the opportunity to go coach a different organization. So maybe there's some questions when it comes to leadership, if you will, and the developing of quarterbacks, which I think are fair. I don't want to act like Kevin Stefanski is the number one coach on the coaching carousel this offseason, but I do feel like he's going to be someone who is in high demand and someone who's definitely deserving of another shot.
So we got 2 defensive head coaches, Todd Bowles and Dan Quinn, who have had recent success and going through sweeping staff changes. I mean, does that kind of put them two on the hottest of hot seats heading into the next season? Because when you start having to fire multiple staff members that you already hired, doesn't that just signal that you're kind of probably next? There's going to be nowhere left for you to hide?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say if we're making a hot seat ranking entering 2026, those are 2 names I would mention, especially when we're talking about someone like Dan Quinn, because you look at Jaden Daniels, who was one of the best rookie quarterbacks we've ever seen, like an automatic opener of your Super Bowl window. And on a rookie contract, that is when you got to win games and start competing consistently. So if Dan Quinn struggles again next season, I think that Washington is going to be hoping for a change at head coach. When it comes to the Buccaneers, I thought it was really interesting. He had his media day, his press conference with reporters earlier this week, and they kind of asked him about his job security. And Todd Bowles said, well, I've won 3 straight division titles. I think I'm pretty safe here, guys. But the NFC South is arguably the easiest division to win. Todd Bowles' defense was not very good this season, and I know they were dealing with a lot of different injuries, but apart from that, that's why they had to fire Josh Grizzard, the offensive coordinator. And by the way, this is kind of going off on a tangent, but that offensive coordinator position in Tampa is going to be coveted because you are the head coach of the offensive side of the ball with Baker Mayfield. But to my point, yes, I think that you can make the argument that the NFC South is not going to stay down for long. They want to see improvement from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all they did in 2025 was flail down the stretch.
Since y'all talking about offensive coordinator, that's my fault. We were talking about, Brian Callahan being the OC there at Tampa Bay, interviewing anyway. Do you think that's a possibility, and do you think he would do a good job?
No, I don't think I would put him as a favorite to win that job, to be honest with you. We all covered Brian Callahan, and I still have a tough time understanding what his system was in Tennessee. I don't think it was very legible. And again, if he were to sign with someone like Tampa, he's becoming the head coach of their offense. So that would be his system, and he would be the play caller. So that is why that job is going to be so desired by all of these different offensive coordinating prospects. And I would imagine that there's someone else out there that Tampa Bay falls more in love with than Brian Callahan.
I got a question for you. Jason Garrett. I thought that was such a random coaching interview request. What do you know about Jason Garrett, and why do you think the Tennessee Titans have at least shown some kind of interest to at least host him in person in Nashville today?
CEO.
I forgot he was a head coach. I thought he was a TV guy on NBC, right? It's been since 2019. 2019 was his last year with the Dallas Cowboys. No, I'm joking, of course. I mean, he was with the Cowboys for a decade, I think. But why did the Titans reach out to Jason Garrett? I think that it could be tossing around different ideas about offensive ideologies and philosophies. I think it could be maybe about some of the people that he's worked with over the course of his career, such as, actually, I don't have a good example off the top of my head. But, I mean, these interviews are to touch base with different coaches and talk about how you would run your offensive systems and different connections around the league as well. So I don't have a good answer why Jason Garrett popped up as someone to have an in-person interview. I have the same question as you guys do, but I'm sure there's a reason, and I'm excited to figure out what it is.
Well, I may have. We kind of had talked about it a little bit on the show, but I got a new theory about some Jason Garrett. I'm going to tie it in coming up next. We appreciate you coming on, Jordan. Enjoy the wild card weekend. It's the best weekend of college or NFL football playoffs. And, of course, we have the semifinals tonight as well. Ooh. So enjoy the weekend of football.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. And I'll be listening. I can't wait to hear your theory.
All right.
Oh, my.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about Jason Garrett. This is the most I can't believe, first off, that we have spent 3 days now talking about Jason Garrett. But he's here today. And I came across something today that I wasn't actually aware of about Jason Garrett. And it ties into the college football playoffs. And it ties into the Tennessee Titans. And maybe it ties into the Nashville Predators. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
We're done about.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all four Seasons Garage stores. 615-737-1045 is the number. Jason Garrett's in town interviewing for the Tennessee Titans head coaching position. He's in person, as first reported by PK. So he is in person.
PK said in person.
Yeah, in person.
Isn't this supposed to be doing Zoom?
Only for employed head coaches.
Okay. That's
He's employed by NBC, not a team.
Oh, but he came in person.
He's in person.
So he had to make sure he wore,
maybe a suit and tie. We don't know. He's probably got plenty of those now that he's on broadcast and everything.
Yeah.
All right. So the big thing, because this guy also kind of ties into my hatred of Kalen DeBoer right now, but all four head coaches of the college football playoffs are what? They all have one thing in common.
Yeah.
Nick Saban.
They all worked for Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, I did not remember this, but so was Jason Garrett.
When was this?
Yeah, when Nick Saban was head coach of the Miami Dolphins, he gave Jason Garrett his first ever coaching job.
What was he doing?
Quarterbacks coach. So he went from being a quarterback for the Miami Dolphins in 2004 under Dave Wanstedt, leaving the NFL playing gig, going straight to coaching with Nick Saban.
I thought he did that with the Cowboys. No, so that's not true.
He was quarterbacks coach for 2005 and 2006 under Nick Saban. Then went straight from there to 2007 Dallas Cowboys to be offensive coordinator. So he's a quarterbacks coach for just 2 seasons. His only coaching he's ever done. No high school coaching, no grad school coaching, nothing like that.
It was a position coach.
But the reason I'm bringing that up is because the other day, 2 days ago, when we first started talking about Jason Garrett, you had reached out to a few people that knew him, and you had said that, hey, if he wanted to be a CEO head coach, that guy could do that.
Yes, that's it.
And now I'm connecting the dots. And I'm saying, well, he learned how to probably be that kind of coach under Nick Saban to start.
They didn't like him as a play caller, but they thought the CEO, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know, man. I didn't know he was with Nick Saban.
I had no clue until this
personal
morning.
friend that was on that staff. That's how I know what happened there, because Nick Saban told him he wasn't leaving. Then the next day, he was in Alabama.
Yeah.
And that guy was
The greatest day of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they finished, I wondered their offenses. I know he wasn't the play caller, but their offense I know their team was middle of the road, right? Mm-hmm. What Nick Saban was. It
wasn't the greatest. I mean, they famously, he didn't want Drew Brees, and that kind of changed how that all went.
So when he left there, where he went back to the Cowboys?
He went to the Cowboys. So he was never with the Cowboys until then. That his first stint, 2007.
No, well, I meant back because he was a player there.
Oh, yeah, he was. Okay, sorry. I was looking at this playing list, and I just read right over it.
Yeah. He was a player there. He was the backup quarterback.
Yeah, so 2007. So 2000, he was a quarterback in 2004 for the Miami Dolphins. 2005, 2006, quarterbacks coach for the Miami Dolphins. 2007, offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. And then 2008 to 2010, assistant head coach and offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Then interim head coach of 2010. And then 2011, 2019, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, like, to your point, CEO-style head coach, if that's what they're looking for, you're kind of seeing in the college football playoffs that, pulling from the Nick Saban coaching tree is probably a good thing for that kind of coach.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, but are all Nick Saban coaches just gold and they all great? Is there any unsuccessful?
I mean, I'm not going to really claim Jeremy Pruitt as a Nick Saban head coach or anything, but because he kind of went somewhere else. They came to Alabama, they went back there.
Well, he's definitely a proven DC. I would say that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just saying. I mean, to the point of the CEO head coach, I thought that was a little interesting to tie into what you talked about earlier in the week.
I see what you're putting down.
Now, I'm still not hiring Jason Garrett, but
Ross, what do you think about this idea? Even Jason Garrett, what were you thinking when you saw that posted?
Well, I saw it, I laughed. I think I was playing Fortnite actually, and I just saw it and I laughed. But then I just don't see, like, obviously he'd have to be that CEO, not a play caller, but like going into a rebuild and trying to rebuild a team is a completely different thing than his situation in Dallas. I mean, they weren't good when he took over as interim, but they went 6-10 that year. And then his first 3 years, they go 8-8 all 3 years. Wade Phillips was much more successful, and they let him go. And they held on to Jason Garrett, who ended up having more success later on. But, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing in the world, but that wouldn't be my choice at all.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting, though. Let's put that as a little positive for Jason Garrett.
Anybody under Saban, like, I have some confidence in them just by default.
Well, and the fact that he did that straight from, playing straight to quarterback coach. Like, I thought that it was pretty impressive. And then 2 years as just quarterback coach, he's already an offensive coordinator. So there's something to the point of, at least coaching-wise, there is something there. You can't deny that there is something there. Now, whether that something actually is him being a good play caller or not is totally different. But there is some kind of good coach in Jason Garrett. Maybe we've only seen it in short spurts with the Dallas Cowboys. But there is something. It's not, I guess I'll say this. It's not as crazy as it was as when I initially thought it was.
Yeah, because see, when you see stuff that like is a curveball,
yeah, it's just like
I started like, okay, I got to start digging. I started calling people. I was just like, whoa. This is out of left field, because when you see a guy who used to be a head coach and work through the NFL like he's done, and then see him on TV, you go, something's here that maybe we just don't know anything about. So that's what made me. I was just curious. I know it's kind of been a delay that will catch a lot of people off guard, because it did with me. But I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it in that CEO, head coach spot, and managing everybody, the staff, and make critical calls for the team, and let the OCs and DCs do their job. I think he could fit that role if that's what they're bringing him in for. I have no idea. This is what
I think they're bringing him in for, because he's probably has met and kind of seen the inner workings of a lot of these, because he works for and does a lot of research and meetings for primetime Sunday Night Football.
Right.
He gets to kind of see all these coaches and see the inner workings just a little bit, but get to know them, sit down with them for prep work for the game and all that kind of stuff. So I'm wondering if maybe they're bringing him in for that intel as well as his expertise in that particular offense. Again, when we're telling you this information, I don't think either of us are advocating that Jason Garrett's our number one quarterback, but you should have all the information, because everybody,
number one coach.
By and large, most people will see a name and not really do the research to find out. Like you talk to people that actually worked and played with them and stuff. Like we go and, I go and try to find all the information I can about why their tenure ended badly, or where'd they come from, what staffs can they assemble. That's to provide you with information, because you could just see a name like most people do, like like most people saw Mike Vrabel's name. And remember, they said, well, if Mike Vrabel gets fired, everybody will fire their head coach for Mike Vrabel, and nobody did. Right. But everybody will see Mike Vrabel's name and now understand what all went down in Tennessee. You don't know what all went down with Kevin Stefanski unless you're, actively Googling it and stuff. So we just got to make sure, I'm just trying to provide as much information for everybody, one way or the other. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to Mike in Nashville. Mike, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Wouldn't you all agree that Jason Garrett developed Dak into a pretty good quarterback? I mean, we would all like for our quarterback to turn out to be Dak Prescott. I mean, forget the championships. He gives them a chance, and it's more than we've had for a long time. And then if you were to go to Mike McDaniels, do you like how he develops quarterbacks in his offense? And lastly, I'd say about John Harbaugh, everybody wants Harbaugh, and he's a big name, but he had the best running back in history, and he had a great quarterback that no one can duplicate, and he didn't win a whole lot. I mean, he won a lot, yes, but he did not win a Super Bowl. So it's not that Jason Garrett would be that bad when you break down comparing him to other coaches out there right now.
I mean, I understand all that. I will say this. There's one thing I disagree with, and that's
Andrews fumble, and then the Zay Flowers fumble. I mean, those are player acts that lost games in AFC championship games.
That's my thing, is like, I don't think people understand how hard it really is to win a Super Bowl. Oh. Like, everybody's like, well, Mike McCarthy only won it once with Aaron Rodgers. Well, Sean Payton only won it once with Drew Brees.
Right.
Tony Dungy only won it once with Peyton Manning. Like, I mean, guys, it's hard to win a Super Bowl even when you have elite talent because it's such a team sport and it's such a sport where it's like one play can define you, right? The Mark Andrews play could have changed the entire trajectory. The
Flowers fumble at the goal
Tennessee
line.
Titans had 9 sacks in a game and still lost the game.
Playoff.
And Mike Vrabel decided to play Derrick Henry when he probably wasn't ready, and Deontay Foreman was looking better all the way down the field. So there are times where even, and I'm sure a lot of you that are calling in saying, I don't want Mike McCarthy, probably wanted Mike Vrabel still. Like, it's so hard to win a Super Bowl. This is not a game of 3, best out of 3 or best out of 5 or best out of 7. This is a one and done situation. I just don't think people understand how hard it is.
Yeah, when people talk about, oh man, he only won 1 Super Bowl. Watch this. How many did you win?
Right.
How many did the Titans win?
Yeah.
They don't have none. We have none. Been there once. None. So guess what? He has 1 more than you, so that's better than us.
Right.
So, let's just pump the brakes. That's why I said this year, I don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. I have no idea.
Right.
Whoever
I mean, are
gets
you
hot-
guys going to sit here and tell me that what if that Josh Allen, if he never wins Super Bowl, wasn't a good quarterback?
No, right, yeah.
Right. And Sean McDermott's a good head coach.
Right.
Well, Matt LaFleur, good head coach. Yeah. Like, these guys are good head coaches and have just as much talent. I just don't understand diminishing the accomplishments of head coaches that have proven time and again over decades that they are good head coaches. I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
But would you put Jason Garrett in there?
No, because he has.
Well, all I was going to say,
but I would say that if you look at to his point about Dak Prescott,
right?
I mean, 13-3, 9-7, 10-6, and 8-8. That's the first 4 years of Dak Prescott. That's quarterback development.
Yeah.
that was because I was going to jump in and say that, and Mike called and he told me that on the phone. I was like, yeah, you got to say that, because that is the one thing you can't think about just all negatives or all positives with the candidate. You got to find both. That is one other thing I think he could bring is developing Cam, helping out with that process. I think he could I wouldn't have any doubts with him in that department.
So you're talking about quarterbacks coach? Or
I don't think
OC?
you're leaving a TV gig for a quarterback's coach job.
Right, I wouldn't think, but you just
you never
know. He may want to be a head coach.
Coaches' DNA is they just want back into coaching.
Yeah.
They just are coaches, and they know it.
Okay, look at it this way.
Listen to him on TV, do you think he's a TV guy? I don't.
No,
I think
not
coach.
really.
I think coach.
Well, look at it this way. If he becomes quarterback's coach and Cam Ward looks like let's say Dak Prescott did his rookie year, 3,667 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, who's going to be getting more than one head coaching interview next year? Jason Garrett.
And rightfully
all it
so,
takes
if
is
that
a
happens.
stop, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. You can't rule out Jason Garrett taking the quarterback coach because of the TV job because of that. He could use Cam Ward in 1 year if he's as good as what, we have seen as far as developing Dak. If he's as good as that, then maybe he can get another shot. And I think, to your point, that's all they want, right? Foot in the door, one more shot. And there's no telling what he's learned. Right.
He's gonna get elevated real quick.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying they should hire Jason Garrett, just giving you guys all the information, letting you all make the decision about Jason Garrett. All right, coming up next, we'll continue talking about the Tennessee Titans and their head coaching job. We'll also talk a little bit go back to Miami and Ole Miss last night, because I think there's two interesting, talking points coming out of that game as well. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Becky.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Blaine, do you want to talk coaching about the Miami Ole Miss game and how it affects maybe the Tennessee Titans, or they should look into something?
Coaching?
Yeah. Or do you want to talk about draft and how last night's game may have affected the draft for the Tennessee Titans?
I would have probably draft, because all I can think of with the coaching is Cam Ward's got to be sick watching that Miami defense from the sideline.
Nope, that's not it. You failed. But we'll go to the draft.
With the coaching, what do you mean? Like some messed up?
Okay,
or not? I didn't really see it.
I
was out and about, so I wasn't really sitting down like watching the game like I normally want to do.
I think the Tennessee Titans, depending on how the staffing works and everything, should maybe look into interviewing or trying to bring in Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator of the Miami Hurricanes. It's been the offensive coordinator of the last since 2023. They've had a pretty good offense. They'd run a version of the pro spread offense, which obviously suits Cam Ward. Now, we'd have to find a head coach or anything. I'm not saying you have to force them, but if there's an opportunity there to maybe talk to him with whoever you hire as a head coach, maybe there is a possibility that, something to look at if I was a head coach. Even if I was Tennessee Titans. I wouldn't force them, don't get me wrong, on any head coach. But
I would look into him, man. No doubt, yeah. He may have some insight on even Cam a little bit more than what you already know or see when you show him tape of him. But that's a conversation. I don't know if I would bring him in for an interview.
Yeah, well, not for like head coach. I mean, when I say that, I just mean like figure out if maybe someone will want to interview him. And then again, that should not be a deciding factor on who you hire as head coach. Just saying that maybe, hey, after you hire your head coach, hey, just once you know, maybe we should talk about this Shannon Dawson guy. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
I would look into it.
This sounds crazy. I mean, now they're putting this big umbrella on all the different coaches they're bringing in. And, man, well, why not bring in some of these elite college coaches? Kirchnetti, Cristobal. I mean, I really like what I see out of the Hurricanes offense, and then what they build on defense, and then their physicality, how they're playing in the trenches. They're at Miami as well as IU.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys, man, I'm going back and watching the tape, and I'm like, hey, man, that's where they're winning these games. Miami gets penalized more than anybody. That you would think that would put them in the hole, even last night. And it kept, dang, they overcame it. I don't know whoever they play if they're going to be able to keep overcoming some of these penalties. But other than that, they are winning in the trenches, and it's on offense and defense. And maybe that's what they realized last year is that, that's why they missed the playoffs is they threw the ball all around the yard, but they needed to be a little more physical and run the football. And that's what they have done. And that's what your guy, the coordinator there, too, by the way. So they had to identify that. Man, I would be intrigued by that. I don't know. Those guys are making $10, $11 million. I don't know what the NFL going rate for first-time head coach.
But it's also Tennessee Titans are on a different pay scale than everybody else in the NFL feels like.
I mean, they take that out of their salary cap. They got the most salary cap money. They can't use that.
They're doing $3 million per year for Brian Kelly, and I understand there's a different.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and I understand.
Did he get an extension though? Remember?
Yeah, but that's the latest. That's he's getting $3 million per year, and so what John Harbaugh is getting paid. Now listen, it's worth the money, but John Harbaugh was getting paid $18 million per year.
Well, yeah, so he's got
difference, but that's just what I'm saying is that there's a little bit of difference of pay.
So what was McCoy getting to be interim?
Oh, I don't know. Those numbers usually don't come out. I just know that the reporting came out.
He was a former head coach. Yeah.
But he was a senior offensive assistant. So I don't know how much of a pay bump you get from going senior offensive assistant to interim head coach.
Oh, you think he was making $1 million?
Maybe. I don't know. Speaking of, though, Indiana, Miami, and Oregon, Miami, betting odds have came out, and Oregon and Indiana both are favored over Miami, no matter what the matchup is.
Right. Yeah, I think it was 5.5.
I wouldn't estimate this Miami team right now. Yeah. They are playing on to your point, the physicality. Like, we'll see how Indiana-Oregon goes tonight, but, man, Indiana-Miami would be a physical, brutal battle.
If I'm Miami, I would probably not want to play Indiana.
Yeah.
Because their styles are a little bit same in the trenches, but they are much more disciplined than the U. The U has a little more edge to you, so that's probably why you probably get some more penalties there. But, man, I'm stunned. Man, IU has to beat Oregon twice now. This will be the second time they beat them in Oregon. He has some fascinating players. A couple of their receivers are going to get drafted. The running back, naturally, we all know the quarterback, Mendoza, is going to be probably the first pick, if not the second. So, man, when you watch them, they are just a well-coached, well-disciplined, hungry, team. Them matches, I got to see them. They got to beat Oregon. It's going to be a tough task, but I think they can do it twice in one season. I think they can. I'm picking up Indiana.
All right. So
you
here's
going with Indiana. Or you going with? You going with Oregon?
Tonight, I'm going with Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's hard, but I'm going to go Indiana. Okay, so here's my draft thing. I think Trinidad Chambliss has a case to maybe make it into the first round. And if he makes it to the first round, it could provide, depending on how his combine and how his offseason goes, I think there could be a chance that 4 quarterbacks go in that first round, depending on if Dante Moore hasn't officially declared yet. So, depending on that. I think Trinidad Chambliss is a pretty interesting quarterback.
Who's your third? Oh, you said 4.
Well, Ty Simpson.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I wonder if Trinidad Chambliss, which would be a good thing for the Tennessee Titans who pick at number 4. Maybe I'm just wish casting here, putting it out, positive energy out in the universe so the Tennessee Titans can trade out of 4. But I mean, we've seen Anthony Richardson go as high as 4, and I think Trinidad Chambliss is maybe not the athletic freak that Anthony Richardson is, but I think he's a better quarterback.
Well, how are you going to compare him to a giant?
Yeah.
You got to compare him to another short guy, which is like Murray. Cam Ward is not short.
Well, they're about the same size.
Is this guy? I thought he was only like 6 feet.
He's 6'1". Well, I mean,
that means 6 feet.
Yeah, that's true.
That means 6 feet.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Baker Mayfield, Murray, all these guys are kind of short. And what kind of style offense? I do love his skill set. Yeah. And he's a progression reader, and he can run around. Yeah. And he throws on time.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's the thing. I was watching,
and I go, man, this guy, I was hoping he could stay. I wanted to watch him a little bit more because I would even throw a curveball. I would take him if people don't have him high on the radar at 3rd round. I mean, just because, in worst case scenario, this guy could be a gadget guy or change of pace guy, even coming in any offense. I think he can play.
I've seen him in these last 2 college football playoff games and these big moments. And I mean, he's been good all year, but in these 2 big moments this year, and I'm like, wow.
How much do we see him under center? Being a shorter guy.
That's true. So that's true.
That's probably one thing he'll have to show. But, man, I love his skill set.
I mean, that last drive last night, I know they didn't, score, but just precise strikes on time. Mm-hmm. Even the last throw of the game. Put it only where his guy could try to make a play on it. Like, he's impressive.
I think there's a chance there, though. I've seen a lot of people talk about, like, wow, look at this and look at that. And I'm like, I think there's enough tape there where I think you could be intrigued if you're a team. Mm-hmm. If you're a team where maybe he can sit.
Right, that's what I'm getting. Yeah. A veteran team. Like, we have room. We can 3rd round is fine. Some people just aren't going to take him because of his measurables. Yeah. I'm telling you right now.
That's true.
And then he was only 1 year, in a big I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he's got some championship pedigree there, let alone Division II, to take the Ole Miss to where they were last night and run out of time.
Yep, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean,
and he didn't start the season?
Yeah, 400. I think so. 445 pass attempts. I mean, that's a lot of pass attempts, not throw a lot of interceptions. I don't know. I'm curious. That's in a kind of a boring draft. I feel like it's a very boring draft class. I'm kind of interested in the Trinidad. I'm buying into the Trinidad Chambliss storyline the rest of the way.
Could that be a potential Steelers draft pick? Maybe.
Nobody likes the Steelers, so who cares? Steelers fan in there.
I ain't no Steelers fan. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan.
He's an
Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah, come on, he's an Aaron Rodgers fan. I don't know. I'm just interested to see what his offseason looks like.
Yeah, with all the draft analysis.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going to skyrocket up the board, as you're mentioning. I don't know if it's going to go as high as first, but I think people are going to start getting nervous that they may not be able to get him like in the second or third just because of how everything is going to play out here once he's start going through all the tests. And if he measures at 6'1", it's a no-brainer now. If he is legitimately 6'1", it's over. He is a first-round pick.
I think there is something to it because, like you said, we talk about timing and throwing on time and all that kind of stuff and ball placement. He's got it. Yeah. I mean, he's got it in spades. Yeah. It's really interesting because he wasn't really slated to be the full-time guy. That wasn't the guy everybody was talking about over the season. And then he comes in and puts on a pretty good season.
Austin somebody, I forgot his name. I think it was some big 5-star guy.
Austin Simmons.
Yeah, Austin Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
It was interesting. Obviously, Ruben Bain played last night. You may not have seen him play because the Ole Miss tackles had him in hell the whole game.
That means they were holding him alive.
Yeah, that's what some people say. You know, it's easy maybe because they're long arms and his little baby T-Rex arms.
He got the most pressure out of
I was at a
anyone.
place where there was a lot of hottie-toddies up in there. There was a lot of Ole Miss fans, I guess, because we're here in the SEC country. But, I thought the up-tempo was going to slow down their pass rush, and it did a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to see what Miami looks like, obviously against either Indiana or Oregon, because there will be some good offensive line prospects on those two. Because obviously everybody's looking at Ruben Bain as a potential 4th overall pick for the Tennessee Titans. Not really there, but I understand why other people may be promoting that and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see one more game, one more sample size, one more piece of information on Ruben Bain.
Yeah. I don't know where he's going to fall out because I'm interested to see who he's competing with as far as, pass rushers coming out.
So far, I would say preliminary, David Bailey, the guy from Texas Tech, and then Arvell Reese, the hybrid player from Ohio State. Ohio State. Ohio State.
Man. Eddie calling me and texting me.
Yeah, so I would say that those would be the 3 top defensive players in play for the Titans at 4.
And who's the top receivers? 3 receivers.
The only one I would consider, and it would scare me to death, is Jordan Tyson at 4. I'm not drafting another wide receiver at 4.
But Tate and Mekhi Lemon are probably the other
like if you
top
traded
3
back,
guys.
If you traded back KC Conception in there as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the guy from NC State when he first played UT in the Ben Stadium a couple years ago, and then he transferred to A&M.
Yeah.
Which if Mike McDaniel was here and we traded back, I'd be like, yeah, get that guy.
Yeah.
Speed, come on.
Yeah, he's quick as lightning.
That's why I'm a Jeremiah Love guy at 4. Don't think I'm going to be changing that for this. I know it's early in the draft process, but I don't think I'm changing my mind on that.
Do y'all think?
He's a clear cut. Bona fide dude. What are you going to do with Pollard? We'll find that out pretty quick.
I was just going to ask real quick. I know it's kind of separate talking about the game next week. Do you think there's anything to be said about Miami playing this game at home? Like it'll make like a big difference or not really?
What do you think? Are those tickets pre-sold for the most part? I mean,
I don't know.
I'm sure they have student sections.
In their favor or not in their favor with all the distractions it could be. I don't know. They could be used to it.
I meant more like, could there be a way heavy Miami crowd? I know there will be a lot of whoever Oregon, Indiana fans if they win, but I would imagine there's still going to be more Miami fans probably.
I think so.
You would think so, but you never know.
I don't know what their attendance was this season.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably better than the Titans. All right, that will do it. When we come back, let's talk more about the Tennessee Titans. A couple of names have been added to the head coaching list. We'll talk about those. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
It was once said, do all the good you can by all means you can, in all ways that you can, in all places you can, and at all times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can, Ross. That's what owner Aaron Stokes has tried to do for over a quarter century. Hi, folks. It's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. And Eurofix repairs European vehicles at below dealer pricing. But what sets Eurofix apart isn't just the price. It's the deep commitment to quality that keeps you off the tow truck. And Eurofix has clean, welcoming shops where you can actually sit down and relax and even work there in the facility. Plus a free 15-minute no-rent inspection to share with you what's going on at all times. As well as at Eurofix, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repair, work, perform. And rental cars are available with most, if not all, appointments. At 5 locations here in Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet, and more to come. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can check them out online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Stores. 615-737-1045 is the number. Browns and NFL analyst Tony Grossi was on ESPN Cleveland, and he has found out what John Harbaugh's requirements are to be interested in his next head coaching job. And let me just say, this is just further proof that he's not coming here to the Tennessee Titans. All right, here's what Tony Grossi had to say on ESPN Cleveland.
I talked to a league insider who speculates on what he's heard about Harbaugh's prerequisites to even be interested in your job.
Okay.
$20 million a year.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. $10 million assistant coach budget.
Not a problem.
Okay. Total authority over the roster. And also would like to select his own guy to lean on, personnel guy.
Okay, so would he be making the draft picks? Like, you're going to ask this guy? That kind of makes me feel uneasy. Does he want more say over the roster than what he had in Baltimore?
Yes. Ooh. Which would be a total change in the structure here. I think there are 4 definite candidates for Harbaugh to end up with. Cleveland now is, I think, 4th.
Okay.
Miami,
the Giants,
and Atlanta.
Miami, Giants, Atlanta, then Cleveland, no Tennessee Titans, which is really no surprise. I mean, $20 million per year, that's about $2 million more than what he was making per year with the Ravens. $10 million on the staff budget. Total authority over the roster, which he did not have at Baltimore, which, again, if you didn't have it in Baltimore, how do I know I can give you total authority? And I love John Harbaugh, but there's a difference. It's a different game.
Yeah,
He's learned a lot, but that is something. And would like to select his own GM.
Oh, I would be cool with that.
Yeah,
with the GM.
But that's also why he's not going here at Tennessee.
No. Remember I said the GM part of it, and then his relationships. It just none of it comes back to connecting to the Titans.
Yeah,
they would have to give him that kind of money and that kind of power, to get him. And that I don't think they were ever going to do that, especially with a first-year GM who had success last year with the draft pick. So, yeah.
All right, today obviously Jason Garrett is in town today. For his in-person interview. Kevin Stefanski, in-person interview tomorrow. Raheem Morris, in-person interview on Monday. Jeff Hafley, Robert Shula will be earliest they can come or earliest they can Zoom is Tuesday, January 13th. Doesn't mean they will, but that is the earliest. Art Smith, Wednesday, January 14th. And then last night, Cliff Kingsbury, which could be interviewed at any point, in person, Zoom, doesn't matter, could be interviewed at any point, has had a formal request by the Tennessee Titans. Mike McCarthy, former Cowboys head coach, is going to be, according to the reporting, Saturday, January 24th. So you're at least waiting that long for a head coaching situation, unless the reporting meant this Saturday, but that would be tomorrow, and I don't think that's what they meant. So Saturday, January 24th. No. That is incorrect.
Well, I was going to say next week.
That is not. It's Saturday, January 17th.
17th. I was going to say, man, that's like 2 weeks away.
I don't know why that happened, but that is correct. Saturday, January 17th.
Get him in check, Ross.
My bad. And this morning it was announced that Chris Shula and Jesse Minter have been sent requests to interview for the head coaching job as well. So Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator the last 2 years. Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator the last 2 years.
Yeah. Which makes sense because they're the hot, DCs that are on successful teams. So
yeah. So there you go. So I think the Chris Shula thing and Jesse Minter are two interesting names because the Tennessee Titans have largely interviewed people with head coaching experience so far, or at least put in requests. Were Mike McCoy, Vance Joseph, Steve Spagnuolo, Matt Nagy, Jason Garrett, Kevin Stefanski, Raheem Morris, Robert Saleh, Art Smith, Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McCarthy. All had prior NFL head coaching experience. Jeff Hafley has college coaching experience, head coaching experience. Lou Anarumo, Chris Shula, and Jesse Minter are the only guys with no head coaching experience whatsoever. So I wonder if there's a little bit of an element of the interest in Chris Shula and Jesse Minter can be, we can maybe supplement your staff with a couple of these guys. What do you think? And I wonder if that's going to be one of the questions in the interview. Obviously, you're going to want to see what their staff is, but see how open they are to the idea of maybe possibly letting you offer some help in building a staff if they can't get their preferred choices. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just I'm not sure with the first interview how deeply you go into about your staff versus our staff. I think that's probably a second interview type deal. I think they're interviewing them for a head coach and just want to hear them out and just putting out a wide range of interview candidates out there and see who is the best fit. And I mean, eventually you may end up where you never thought you were going to end up.
That's
maybe
true.
A first-time head coach again. I mean, it
wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Right. So, you just, to me, fit and us not in on interviews, especially, when it gets down to the ending interviews, I think it's really hard to say. Someone could have a spectacular resume and they just maybe not be the fit, or they could be. So I just think this is tough call, and I think I would be doing the exact same thing if I was sitting in their chair, and I would wide net and try to get as much information and gather as much information and kind of see if their personality type fits. That's why to me, Jason Garrett shows up live. What'd you just say? Cliff Kingsbury didn't show up live, did he? He's doing it by Zoom.
It has not been said one way or the other.
Who was that you just said that is assistant coach in the league that is coming doing it by Zoom? I think before you said Chris Shula and those guys who are not. But
Art Smith, Robert Saleh, Jeff Hafley, because they're all employed, have to do Zoom.
Right. I know. I thought it was one guy there. But I could be wrong. But yeah, I still think that Jason Garrett coming here, I know he's not on a team, so don't get me wrong, but he could have done the first interview by Zoom.
I mean,
he's live.
Yeah, I mean,
so
you could have done. I mean, technically, you could have done Mike McCoy by Zoom if you wanted to.
Did they go get him with their private jet, or did he have to pay?
I don't know. Maybe I need to go find that. I have to find it somewhere. I used to have the Amy Adams private jet tel number, Sonny plane number.
You say she was at the
when the Cam Ward Pro Day private workout was down there. She was down in Fort Lauderdale. She was down there in the area. So I need to go find that. But, I mean, it's really, because, at the beginning of the week, everybody was kind of panicking about the list. Now we're at 15 names, I believe.
Ooh.
And I think outside of, a few of these, it's a pretty good looking list. And it's kind of the list that you would expect to see. A mix of first-timers, not a large mix of first-timers, but I don't think we really expected a large list. I mean, reporting from Mike Silver, reporting from Easton Freeze, both kind of said they were really keying in on guys with experience. And it's a little bit of a mix of offensive and defensive, but it kind of leans heavily on defense, but it's not that bad of a list in my mind when you kind of look down on it.
Yeah, I have no problem with the list. I mean, it's all the hot candidates, veteran coaches, couple years being an OCDC or even second go round as head coaches. So, yeah, it's going to be. I can't wait till they kind of narrow it down.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of not the fun time for me, really, as far as the coaching, carousel, as far as how many guys are bringing in. When they start narrowing it down,
because probably 10 of these guys won't be on the list by next week when they start interviewing in person. Like if you look at Mike McCoy, we know that Mike McCoy ain't going to be second round.
What? He's not going to be second round?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think Lou Anarumo is going to be second round.
What?
Steve Spagnuolo, I don't think he's going to be second round.
Oh, no. Come on, Spags. He deserves a second shot. What about Mentor?
I think Minter has a shot to be second round. I just don't know where I'm at on Jesse Minter.
Get Minter up and moving.
Yeah, I mean, because he obviously came from the Hardballs, but that's not to say that he can be carbon copy of the Hardballs. But they do think highly of him. They passed him around from family to member to family member.
Right, but did you forget he also was a DC for Michigan and Vanderbilt?
Well, I mean
Vanderbilt's not part of that.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying that, that was 1 year.
That was before. Yeah, it was. He took a good pass up to Michigan, right?
Yeah.
See, so I think he's connected, but not all the way connected with the Hardballs.
Yeah, I think he went Ravens with the Hardballs to Vanderbilt to
Notre Dame? No.
Michigan. Yeah, with the
Michigan.
Hardballs. And now Chargers with the Hardballs.
Yeah. So it'll be. He's never been a head coach though.
Never been a head coach.
So he's never felt as a head coach like Spags.
Nope.
Spags was at Rams for 2 or 3 years.
3 seasons, I think, when I looked this morning.
Hey, it was bad.
It was bad. Vance Joseph, it was bad with Vance Joseph. It was bad with Steve Spagnuolo. It was bad with Kevin Stefanski. Not as bad as those two stops, but it was still bad with Kevin Stefanski. It was bad with Raheem Morris. Again, not as bad as those, but still bad. Art Smith, kind of bad.
No, mid.
Yeah, mid. Cliff Kingsbury, yeah.
See, you start already
I mean, I can eliminate this list for them fairly quickly.
When you start eliminating, who do you come up with that's still on the list?
Jeff Hafley, Chris Shula, Mike McCarthy, Matt Nagy, and I would give I bet Jesse Minter will probably give me enough to want to bring him in person.
Okay.
So that would be 5. If I'm going from 10 to 5, that would be the 5 off this list they've given us.
Oh, okay. I'll bring a little bit something different.
Yep.
New spice, veteran. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I can work with that. Then we could talk and nail it down.
Then we can go start talking about staffs. Because I got my staff list ready.
Oh, my gosh. He's got his staff together.
Let me show you real quick.
I think he's secretly working for the
Are
Titans.
they bringing him in for an
I
interview?
think they are.
That's why he's missing one day next
So
week.
if you guys want a quick look, so here's all my staffs.
Is this why you're missing next week?
So here's I'm here next week.
Oh, okay. I thought we made you take it off.
So like here's all the all 15 candidate or 14 candidates that I did not do Mike McCoy
got a
stuff.
spreadsheet.
Yeah, I got my spread. Look at this. OCs, DCs, coaching history, got
Move
it all.
Show the camera too.
I
so they
did.
can-
Well, that's what I just did.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I had my laptop. Thanks
It
for
was
watching.
off camera.
Watch this.
It was off camera.
Us three do massive research there on Zach's computer.
I contributed heavily to that list.
Like, look, I mean, I still got Joe Brady, Matt Burke, Anthony Campanelli,
Oh, my.
Anthony Weaver,
Who dat?
Clint Kubiak, but they didn't interview any of these
Weaver.
guys.
That we need to bring Weaver in.
Weaver is not on your
And
list.
they didn't bring him in, but I got his staffs. It's a good looking staff. I don't know why they're not bringing him in, but it's a good looking staff. I'd bring him
they
in.
have to why their agent didn't call. They missed him.
I don't know.
Can you fax that sheet over to the front office?
I absolutely could if they want. If listen, all they have to do is call me and say, "Hey, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this," and I'll give it to them.
I think you should get Anthony Weaver's email and send him an email from the Titans saying,
Hey, listen.
from an interview.
So you know what's funny? Speaking of that, on Twitter yesterday, someone was talking about Mike Silver should write another book or something, and then he's like, "I don't have the time. I need a ghostwriter," and someone tagged me in the tweet and said, "You should get Zach Lyons to do it because he talks about your book all the freaking time."
Oh yeah, there you go.
I mean, at least 3 times a week.
Free pub.
Yeah, I mean, I did it at least a couple of times on Football and Other F Words last night. So, I mean, it's just a wealth of information in that one book. So much information in that one
Mike
book.
Silver, the guy.
Yeah, he is the guy. I like him. I guess, yeah, I could narrow that down. Those 5, I think, would be the 5 that would interest me the most, which, again, would be Jeff Hafley, in no order, Jeff Hafley, Chris Shula, Jesse Minter, Mike McCarthy, and Matt Nagy. I think those 5 out of this list that they have already put out would interest me the most. I just can't get behind Vance Joseph. And I think Vance Joseph is a great defensive coordinator and everything. I remember his time in Denver very vividly because I had covered the Denver Broncos through fantasy football because I drafted those running backs. So I got put through a lot watching Denver Broncos football those 2 years, and he was one of the worst in-game managers I've ever seen.
He said he was just copying off of the plays you were running.
It was not me. If it was me, it would have been totally different. I would have been saying, please play Philip Lindsay way more than what you're playing him.
Oh yeah, Lindsay was a player.
And he was like
Was he undrafted running back guy?
Yeah. With he had I think a little kind of a fro too. If you ever seen his picture, but I was it was the running gag every time because that's when we first started doing Football and Other F Words back in the day, and it was a running gag that there was always every episode every week I'd be complaining about Vance Joseph and the Denver Broncos.
Oh, because he had over 1,000 yards.
Yeah. So Vance Joseph led the Broncos to the longest losing streak in 50 years for the Broncos. This is back in 2017, 2018 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. First shutout loss in 25 years. First loss at home to the Bengals since 1975. First loss to the Browns since 1990. First loss to Cleveland and Denver in 46 years. And consecutive losing seasons for the first time since 1972. And I don't know if you knew this, but John Elway was on Shannon Sharp's podcast.
What did he say?
And he said, they asked him, like, what was your biggest regret and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, well, I wish I would have listened to my gut back when I wanted to draft Josh Allen, but I let the staff talk me into drafting Bradley Chubb. He says, that's on me because I'm the general manager and I make the final decision, but I let the staff talk me into Bradley Chubb over Josh Allen. At a time where they had Trevor Siemian and Brock Osweiler as their quarterbacks.
Oh.
Dogs.
I mean,
I was just about to ask, like, well, who was the quarterback? I don't remember.
So, but the good thing about Vance Joseph, for those that that may be pro Vance Joseph is that we could have continuity because he could hire Mike McCoy as his OC like he already did at Denver, and he could hire Bo Hardegree as well because they work together in Miami. So maybe we just, run it back with the same offensive staff.
Well, for that, he is off the list. You just gave me a nigga. I don't even know why they're interviewing him.
He's got the most interviews out of any candidate so far. 6 interviews.
I don't know much about Van Joseph, so all jokes aside, but when you went down his resume, I felt like we've already had that guy, Brian Callahan.
I mean, look,
this side of the ball. That guy used to play too, I think. Did he play?
But back in
he played
the 2018 season, I believe.
Familiar.
They do those win probabilities when you make certain decisions and stuff. He had a 20% swing in win probability on one play. It's the worst decision, 4th and 1 decision in NFL history for the last 30 years when they started keeping up with that stat. Isn't that wild? I mean, I understand people are like, but he could bring you Davis Webb. But I'm like, okay, well, you got Vance Joseph, who has proven to be a bad in-game manager, and you're going to bring in a first-time play caller who may or may not be good. He's only been coaching in the NFL for 3 years. I don't know. There's just a lot of I can't really get behind Vance Joseph, and I don't want to be someone's prove it. I don't want to really be someone's redemption arc. That's why I have most of the retreads outside of Mike McCarthy. I'm just I don't know.
Oh, I knew he played. He was a defensive back. 3 years of when I was playing. I knew I heard that name. He was out there.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good player.
He must have got an injury because he ended up, out of the league in 99 playing.
And obviously, he's a heck of a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this guy, it was a terrible stint in Denver. And it wasn't roster, really. I mean, you could have better quarterbacks and stuff, but the in-game management was just, it was so bad.
Well, like you said, some dudes are just meant to be coordinators, right?
Yeah.
And that's that's not bad. That's fine.
Now, maybe he wants to be a CEO, and maybe he's learned a lot from being with Sean Payton and all these other guys. He's been with Cliff Kingsbury. He's been with Sean Payton. Maybe he's learned something. I don't know. But again, the whole learning thing, we'll never know until they're sitting back in the seat. And do you want the guy that has at least you have tangible information about his time as a head coach? Do you want that guy in the seat? Do you want to take the risk with the Tennessee Titans on that kind of a guy?
At this point, after
if this was a different timeline, that's the big thing. The timeline for the Titans is just it's rough. It's rough.
Watch this, but this will tell you how good a DC is if you think the same way I'm thinking. When the Titans played them the first game of the season, why do you think they lost? Was it because of Denver's defense or because of Denver's offense?
Denver's offense.
Oh, yeah, you?
Sorry, we were talking back here. What was your question?
Why do you think the Titans lost to the Denver Broncos the first game? Because of the Denver Broncos?
The defense. The defense.
Exactly.
The defense.
You pulled a me right there. Right?
Well, I thought it was more of I know
I just keep things simple in my mind because I go, well, dang. And then you go talk to the people in Denver. You got Legwand and all these different people down there. And they say that they've won games more so because of the defense than Sean Payton and the offense.
Yeah, I would say specifically last year for sure.
Kind of acknowledge that there. He kind of never says Van Joseph.
He says some weird stuff at press conferences. Have you noticed that lately?
I don't know, but I just go
all those bongs he rips.
So, to that point, maybe he could be a good, head coach, get a second go round, but I just don't view him as he's like Swartz and Greg Williams and all those guys doing. I just feel like they're great DCs, just probably not. They got their opportunity to be a head coach. That time has passed.
Yeah,
for me. Yeah. So then he's kind of got some connections with the 49ers. So he wouldn't. Is his contract up? Because I don't think he would make a.
No, I don't think his contract's up. I'm not sure because it would be year 3 or 4, so maybe it is up, but they would renew it regardless.
Well, sometimes you got to make somebody up the ante.
Maybe. But I mean, especially if they go far, they got the first round bye, especially if they go far in the playoffs, they probably would. If he does get a job somewhere else, maybe he would stick around. I don't know.
I don't know. I wouldn't put anything, Sean Payton is, hey, man, you interviewed for another job. Your contract's up. We didn't know what was going on. So we hired this other guy. You didn't know what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
See that?
Could be.
They talking about you a little too much. They
Could
should be talking about me. I'm the one, man, casting the checks here and writing them.
Yeah.
Outside the owner.
All right. Any other coaching updates, we'll let you guys know. But when we come back, we'll make our picks for Wild Card Weekend. We'll just talk about that. And we'll get Ross and me and you. We'll make some Wild Card Weekend picks. And that'll do it for the show.
This is part of your picks, no?
No lines in best bets this week. We decided. I wanted to involve everybody this week.
I missed that.
You didn't want me to start it with the I need $1.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. I just wanted to include everybody. And also I haven't really prepared for the Lions Den Best Bets this week. I've been busy, as you can see, making staffing sheets.
Yeah, man. The Titans, I saw they text you.
All right. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Yes, the holiday partying is over, at least as for now, since the new year has passed us. But yes, we have gained an extra little poundage around the midsection. So the approach to weight loss with Edge peptide hormone therapy is a little bit different. We make sure all patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations within office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. As well as they use U.S.-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies because no one knows where the peptides come from. Well, you do from Edge Peptide. You enjoy access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining that muscle mass, as well as lowering your A1C, keeping your cravings in check, prioritizing protein, and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. And all you have to do is just call the team at Edge Peptide for all your wellness questions at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878, or you check them out online at edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. And it's kind of weird. I'm going grocery shopping on my way home and I actually have to buy stuff for also on Sunday since I won't be here all day on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because there's no Tennessee Titans game. So there's no, pregame show, no watching the game here, no after show.
Oh, man.
So it's kind of weird not to have a Titans game on a Sunday. Kind of enjoying it because I'm going to be able to watch some wild card football this weekend. So I'm excited.
Oh, I get to sleep in and go to church.
There you go. All right. Let's go around the room. We got 7 games, including Indiana versus Oregon tonight. We'll go around and we will all make picks. So let's start with Indiana versus Oregon. I am going with Indiana. I just think that with the way that Indiana has been playing basically the last half of the year, it has been awesome. I do enjoy Dante Moore and what Oregon has been able to put on the field, but I think just Indiana's too much for them.
Yeah, that one there. I think the physicality in the trenches. I think Oregon's going to be without one of their running backs, too. I think is out for this game. I know they rotate them in different style guys, but I'm looking for. He's just really hard to go against Indiana with their physicality in the trenches. But, man, Oregon, you get on the perimeter, man, they are, it's tough. 2 times to beat a team in a season?
That's tough.
They beat them in Oregon. This time it will be, where are they playing tonight?
In Atlanta.
Stadium? They're in Atlanta. So, I am going, since I am a Hoosier, I'm going to go for the Indiana Hoosiers.
I'd go Indiana as well. I think if there's any coach that can get his team ready to play, it's Dan Lanning. So I know Oregon will 100% be ready to go, and I think they'll play well. But I just think Indiana's a buzzsaw right now, so I'd go with the Hoosiers.
There we go. So clean sweep. That means Oregon is winning tonight. If you guys want to go place your bets, because we all chose Indiana.
Dang it.
All right. Rams at Panthers. Now, apparently, I have not been able to fact check this, but Bustin' Diamond in the chat, the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, it says that Matt Stafford is 1-8 in rain games, and there's rain in the forecast at Rams at Panthers. 1-8. Are we expecting a Panthers upset, or are we all going Rams? Because I'm going Rams. Now,
by the way, the Panthers beat them early this season.
They did.
But I'm also kind of wondering if maybe selfishly I should be rooting for the Panthers so Chris Shula can come in and interview quicker. And we don't have to worry about them being in the playoffs another year or another week. But I'm going with the Rams.
Give me the Rams as well, man. Devontae Adams coming back. I mean, I know you said the weather and all that stuff. That's cute. I'm giving it to the Rams.
That's cute.
I like it. It was cute. Yeah, it's hard to go against Matthew Stafford. He had 2 interceptions, I think, and a fumble in this game. So without those 3 turnovers, you would think in the playoffs that won't happen. But you never know. So, it's hard to go against the Rams. The Rams are, and I like to see them do well. I like their team. So, yeah.
Packers at Bears. We're a big old rivalry game.
Packers at Bears.
And I know that the Packers and the Bears have got a little bit of the coaches are feuding and stuff like that.
What?
But I'm going to pick.
Before?
Yeah. Ben Johnson said some stuff about the Packers. The Packers are currently favored. They're on the road. So I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going with the Bears. I think the Bears are going to win. I think they really got something going with Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and that entire team. And the defense is really good. Jordan Love may be a little rusty. I think I'm going with the Bears as an upset.
Yeah, I think the Packers without my man Micah may be a little bit too difficult of a task here. And I think the Bears are expecting even more. This is not just good enough to make the playoffs with Ben Johnson's first year, Caleb Williams there in his first year with them. I think they expect more, so I'm going to go with the Bears.
Okay.
Go with the Bears as well. I think I know. I just said this in there. I think that home atmosphere, man, that city, I mean, they are hungry. They're ready for it. Yeah. And I think the Packers, they've had some bumps and bruises along the way. I think it's just going to be too much.
Yeah.
All right, Bills at Jaguars. Bills are favored by 1.5 points and slight money line favorites as well. Jacksonville Jaguars are red hot, but I'm going to go with the Bills on this one.
Oh, man.
I'm going with experience on this one.
Well, I'm MVP Josh and Super Bowl Josh, so I'm going Josh.
Did y'all pick the Bills?
I am. Preseason. I love me some Josh Allen, man. This year I thought he was going to take this whole night. I think he needs a big-time receiver. My man Keon Coleman kind of let me down, man. But they got the back with Cook, and he's cooking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with Allen, man.
I'm picking the Bills, too. I am.
Yeah, man.
Well, so far
he's taking this spot of Burrow for me, man. Burrow disappointed. I'm watching film, man. Burrow did not play well.
Okay, 49ers at Eagles. Eagles are 5.5-point favorites at home. 49ers at Eagles. I'm going 49ers. I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to be able to get it done. Something's funky up in Philadelphia, and I think because of what is going on with Jalen Hurts and stuff and all the everything around it, I think I'm going to go that 49ers are going to win this one on the road. Harsh environment.
Yeah.
And it's hard to bet against Jalen Hurts in the offseason, but I think I'm going to go this time with 49ers.
Yeah, for all those reasons you just mentioned to go against the Eagles, I think that galvanizes them. That brings them together, and that's what they want there in Philly, the drama, the Philly love, the brotherly love, all of that, and then they come out there and smack you in the mouth, say, take that zone read offense all somewhere else. So I'm going with the Eagles.
There you go.
They're going to be listening to what you say.
We finally did it.
Yes.
We finally all picked something different. For you.
I'll take Eagles in this one. I think the experience.
Oh, okay.
I like it. I like being a lone wolf.
Oh, well, that means you're going to win.
Chargers at Patriots. The Patriots are 3.5-point favorites. Chargers defense is probably going to be the best defense they faced all year. It's one of the best in the NFL. It's really hard right now, though, when you're going to be traveling cross-country to the Patriots. The Chargers traveling across country. That offensive line for the Chargers in shambles. I really, my heart wants to pick the Chargers, but my brain says I got to go the Patriots.
What's the weather?
I will look that up.
Probably not very close to what California's weather is.
Well, reason why is just because they're an indoor team. They're California. You know that whole deal. That does matter sometimes. Environment, but
the low 30s throughout the contest with a wind chill, wind gusts of up to 23 miles per hour, wind chill as low as 23 degrees Fahrenheit, and a chance of rain to turn into snow.
Man, that weather there. I don't know. Something about. I think this is a good regular season team. Let's see what the Patriots do in the playoffs under Vrabel. So with that being said, I'm going with the Chargers.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Ross?
Give me the Patriots for the travel and weather reasons and the Chargers' abysmal offensive line.
Is anybody going to pick the Steelers for the last game?
I am because I'm biased.
Good luck. I mean, the Texans are going to stomp them.
It's
all
in
right,
Pittsburgh,
we'll come back to it.
Huh? Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh, but the Texas defense is just on another plane.
And it's just hard, man, to go. Aaron Rodgers can bring out some magic. That's what I said about a veteran player. He has enough to get it done. But I'm going with the Texans, though.
All right. There you have it. All right. 3HL's up next. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.